What's going on, everybody? KingofDragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Lobo from DC Rebirth. And so here we have the McFarlane Multiverse Lobo posed and out of the packaging. Before we take a look at the figure, let's actually run through his accessories really fast. Lobo does come with his chain and hook, which is a rubbery accessory. It is one piece, and we don't get the separate chain and hook, unfortunately, but it does wrap around his right arm nicely. And then we do get the McFarlane display stage. Other than that, Lobo doesn't come with anything else, so let's actually have a closer look at the main man, Lobo. And so here we have a closer look at the McFarlane Lobo, and I have to say McFarlane has done some really good things here. I'm not a fan of how he did the chain and hook. I would have liked that to be an actual chain with a plastic hook at the end of it, but instead we just get a rubbery chain, so I'm not a fan of that. I am a fan of this head sculpt. When I first initially saw this head sculpt, I really wasn't crazy about it. I thought something about it looked off, but having it in hand, it looks so much better now. He does have kind of a Joker look going on him, mainly because the color of his face is this really stark white in contrast to the gray on his body. I did go through some of the Lobo figures I have, and all of them seem to have that issue where his face doesn't quite match his skin tone. That might actually be something that we see in the comics. I have to go back and take a look, but yeah, every figure of Lobo I have, his face is different than his skin tone, so more than likely that might be comic accurate, but we'll have to see. So one thing I'm not a fan of is how the hair sculpt looked. When we saw the promotional images for this figure, the hair looked more like this. Now I don't know what caused the hair to do this. It might just be malfunction, might be something with the glue, because you can see there is some glue right there, and it does look like it peeled away, so maybe I can glue that back down? I don't know, we'll have to find out. But I still like the way this face came out. The red eyes look really nice, and then his kiss-like structure where it looks like makeup, but I'm pretty sure that's his actual face, and like I said, it looks really good. They did a very good job sculpting his beard and giving it some character. You can see he has like 2 points right here, and we have this really nice squared off chin. Lobo here just looks exceptionally well done, and even though his mustache isn't as detailed as his goatee right here, it still looks really impressive. So having a look at his costume, this is exactly what you imagine Lobo wearing. We have the torn leather vest and a raggedy undershirt. Now the shirt is done in a blue color scheme, and you can see that they did sculpt detailing in here. It's all torn and worn out. It's not going all the way through, so it might be a double layered shirt, but yeah, it looks really nice, and it does look like an actual shirt. The leather jacket here is done very nicely. You can see he does have 2 pouches right here, or pockets I should say. Then we do have the collar of the vest. Unfortunately, he has spikes right here, but they're not painted. They're just cast in black plastic, which is a little bit unfortunate. I would have liked to see those spikes painted a little bit. The rips in his sleeve are done very nicely, so it does look like he just got a leather jacket and ripped the sleeves off, and that's perfect for Lobo. On the back, we do have his traditional Bite Me Fanboy emblem right here, which looks really nice. I do like it. The skull is sculpted on, as well as the wings and the Bite Me Fanboy banner. However, the Bite Me Fanboy and the wings are tempoed on. They're not actually sculpted so that they're embossed or raised, but it still looks really nice. The skull itself is sculpted, so it does have some texture to it, but the wings and the Bite Me Fanboy don't, which I'm not too upset about. I know there's some people that wanted to see more detailing in there, but it works for Lobo. So moving on to his arms, I do have a problem with my Lobo, and I don't know if this is a universal issue, but his arms seem to come off very easy. Yeah, you can see I can just pull them off. It's kind of like the dark side peg, where the peg doesn't seem like it's deep enough to house this joint, and both arms do suffer from that, but they do peg on, and it's not like they fall off. Like, I can hold his arm and it doesn't come off, but moving it around too roughly, you will pop that joint off, so do keep that in mind. Okay, so having a look at his skin here, they did a very good job sculpting his skin and then giving him his gloves right here. You can see that they are just black leather gloves with some black wraps going around them. On this side it does look like there should be a stud right here that should be painted silver, but they didn't paint it unfortunately. And then we have a look at his fingers where you can actually see his nails are not the nicest. They are growing out. And I would have liked to see some discoloration on the nails just to give it that more rugged and nasty look, because Lobo is a nasty guy here and I really do like how he came out. The belt here is fantastic. You can see that skull is sculpted really nicely with the star right on the top of it. Then we do have these big studs going around the belt. Very, very detailed figure. I especially love the detailing on his jeans. McFarlane has done so much in terms of sculpt, and I do like the fact that they did go over this figure with some paint, so there is some darker wash throughout his jeans, and that does bring out the detail so much better than just having it cast in one color. Now unfortunately the wash is only in the front. There's some spots in the back right here, especially around his hindquarters, that you can see some black wash, but it's mainly here in the front. Really would have liked to see a black wash throughout the figure, not just in the jeans, but it's still very nice. Then we go on to Lobo's shin guards, where we have the skull with the spikes. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the red stars going across the skulls or anywhere here. That is a little bit unfortunate, because when you think of Lobo, that's kind of his thing. He has the skulls, he has the stars, he has the spikes. They're just missing those red stars, and I think it's a missed opportunity to not have those stars somewhere. Even like at the top of the skull, I would have even liked one star. You didn't have to put all three, but yeah, it is very obvious that he is missing those stars. Even if it was just painted on, I would have liked that. So yeah, that's a little bit unfortunate. And his shin guards are done very nicely. They are a rubber piece that's glued onto his shin right here, which is why they are cast in that silver plastic. Now unfortunately his bootstraps, they're the same color as his jeans. I would have liked to see that painted black. It would make the most sense because his boots are black, and having these straps black would also work. It looks a little bit strange when his straps and his boots are the color of his jeans and then his actual boots are black. So yeah, not a fan of how they did that, but we still have those studded boots at the end of his toes, and then we have some armor plating right there. So overall, McFarlane has done a very good job sculpting Lobo here. It looks like Lobo, and I know there's people that are saying it's the new 52 Lobo. No. This is the DC Rebirth Lobo. It is not the New 52 Lobo, and I can prove it with pictures. New 52 Lobo is vastly inferior to Classic Lobo, and I'm really glad we got Classic Lobo. Well, as classic as we can get in the modern era. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually get them compared to other figures you may have in your collection. Here we have the McFarlane Multiverse Lobo posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a DC Multiverse Superman. And so here we have the Multiverse Lobo posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure in a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. Here we have Lobo posed next to a Lightning Collection White Ranger and a Star Wars Black Series Mandalorian. Here we have the McFarlane Multiverse Lobo posed next to the Mattel DC Multiverse Lobo and the Storm Collectibles Injustice Lobo. So with the comparisons out of the way, you can see Lobo is a much bigger figure than your standard Multiverse figure, which I really do like that. So with all that out of the way, let's actually move on to his articulation. Now Lobo does have a double ball joint in the head, which he can look up very nicely. I do like that. In case you have a bigger figure, can still look up at that figure, and I really do like the fact that he can look down. So smaller figures, bigger figures, he can size them up really nicely, which I do like that. He does have some nice head tilt, which does go side to side. You do want to be careful because you don't want to get the plastic caught against itself. You want to make sure that you clear it, so just keep that in mind when moving his head. And then of course it does rotate left and right. Arms are on a ball joint going into the torso, so they do go all the way around. We get some forward and back action, some up and down. Then they are on a hinge, which does let them go out to the side, go all the way around. We do have a bicep swivel here on Lobo. Then we have double bend here at the elbow, kind of stiff, but it does go past 90 degrees. For a big guy, that is very, very nice. He has a ball hinge here at the wrist, which can go in and out, and we can rotate that joint to have up and down hinge, so it just depends on how you have it positioned. Then we do have a ball joint here in the torso, which does go back. Doesn't go too far forward, it does go back though. Side to side, not so much, and we get some rotation. Then we get a second ball joint here, which can lean back about that far. He leans forward about that far, so at least we get some forward leaning with Lobo. I kind of wish that this got a little more articulation. That would make it so much better. And then we get some really nice tilt. Legs do kick forward to about right there. They do kick back to about there. Out to the side, no problem. He does have somewhat of a thigh swivel up high. We have a double bend here at the knee, which is kind of stiff. You do got to put a little effort behind it, but once you get it moving, it moves no problem. Then we do have a ball swivel here at the at the ankle, so that does rotate where it connects into the ankle. We have a toe hinge, or a hinge in the ankle, which goes forward and back, forward facing pin for rocker ankle, and then of course a toe hinge. So overall, Lobo has your standard McFarlane articulation. Some areas not so good, but others he excels, and that is very good. So with that out of the way, guys, let's actually put Lobo in a really nice pose, and then we'll move on to my final thoughts. And so here we have the McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse Lobo pose for my final thoughts. And overall, this is an exceptionally well done Lobo figure. It's not very often that we get a Lobo figure. I know DC Direct has given us a few Lobo figures. Mattel gave us 2. And then Storm Collectibles gave us the Injustice Lobo. Out of all of them, I think this is one of the most affordable Lobo figures you can get. This figure is only $20. Now, that might not sound like a lot, but for $20 you are getting a huge piece of plastic, and that's something I really do like about this figure. The detailing on Lobo is done exceptionally well. Now, I have heard people complain about the white face on this figure. To be quite honest, once you get him pose around and mess around with him, you really don't notice it too much unless you're really looking for it, which is one thing I've noticed about McFarlane figures. A lot of the complaints come from people that are really trying to find things to complain about. Lobo here for $20 I think is an exceptionally well done figure and a must-have for any fan of Lobo. At $20, and I keep reiterating that, he's a bargain of a figure, seeing as how the Storm Collectibles Lobo is about $100. The Mattel Build-A-Figure Lobo was $80 when you got all 4 figures together. And then the first Mattel Lobo is a Comic-Con exclusive figure, and that is going on upwards of $300. So getting this Lobo is very nice, and I do like the price. I love the detailing on him, and the one complaint I have is the hook and chain. I really wish that McFarlane had given us a beefy chain with that gnarly fish hook or meat hook. It looks so vicious, and I just wish that there was a way you can have it pose where he could swing it around or just have an actual chain attached to it. That would have pushed this figure up and over the moon, which I think he's already a good figure. If you haven't already done so, I really do recommend this Lobo figure. If you're a fan of the DC Multiverse line or want a really awesome Lobo in your collection, he's a very beefy figure that you can even fudge him in with some of your older Mattel figures, which is one thing I really do like. That Lobo's size is very different in the comics depending on who draws them. So a big hulking Lobo does fit in your DC Universe Classics display, or you can throw him in with your McFarlane figures. Either way, he's gonna look good in any DC display. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go ahead and check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other DC Multiverse videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you'd like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll gladly have a look at it. While you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and as always, ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.